The 26th Islamic Unity International Conference affirms in its final communique the need to reach a peaceful solution to the crisis in Syria. Our armed forces crush dozens of terrorists, destroy their tools and confiscate their weapons. The Egyptian opposition refuses dialogue and Morsi orders the army to confront the demonstrators. Good afternoon, I am Yarado Krikorian from the News Center in Damascus. Iranian Shura Council's Speaker Ali Larijani has affirmed that political dialogue is the best solution to the crisis in Syria. He added that the West and regional states have committed a mistake in their attempt to ignite violence in Syria. In a statement on the sideline of the Islamic Unity International Conference in Tehran, Larijani said, "The crisis in Syria cannot be solved and democracy would not be built by the force of arms." The Shura Council Speaker said his country has advised the West that building democracy cannot be achieved through military intervention, whether in Syria, Bahrain or any other state. However, they did not listen to the advice, Mr. Larijani added. The 26th Islamic Unity International Conference has concluded its meetings in Tehran with the participation of intellectuals of 102 states. The conferees affirmed in their final communique the need to reach a peaceful solution to the crisis in Syria, denouncing terrorism, whether perpetrated by individuals, groups or big powers, under the cover of globalization, democracy and human rights.
The 26th Islamic Unity International Conference has issued a final communique at the conclusion of its meetings in Tehran. It focused on the need to reach a peaceful solution to the crisis in Syria and activate the role of scholars and intellectuals in presenting solutions to crises. The conference adopted the Syrian Mufti of the Republic, Dr. Ahmed Badruddin Hassoun's proposal to establish a federation for resistance scholars that comprises intellectuals who embrace resistance and rapprochement thought. The conferees also approved the establishment of a committee for good offices that plays the role of mediation between governments and peoples to bring closer viewpoints and reach a peaceful solution to crises. The final communique also condemned the ongoing Zionist aggressions and suppressive practices against the Palestinian people. The participants voiced support for the efforts of national reconciliation among the various Palestinian factions and the Palestinian people's right to resistance, repatriation, and the establishment of their independent state with Jerusalem as its capital. The conference recommended that political differences should not be used to ignite sedition and sectarian conflicts. The conference affirmed that resistance is a people's legitimate right. It condemned terrorism, whether perpetrated by individuals, groups or big powers, under the cover of globalization, democracy and human rights.
Army units confronted a terrorist attack on the National Hospital in Al-Hawla area in Hom's countryside, killing and wounding scores of gunmen. An official source told Sana reporter that the armed forces inflicted heavy losses upon the terrorists and destroyed their equipment and cars. Meanwhile, an official source told Sana reporter that a unit of the armed forces eliminated members of an armed terrorist group in Ad-Dabba village in Al-Qusayr countryside and destroyed their headquarters and a car equipped with a heavy machine gun. The source added that another unit inflicted heavy losses upon the terrorists in Ash-Shumariya and Al-Buwaida villages in Al-Qusayr countryside. Meanwhile, army units intercepted an armed group which was trying to infiltrate into Syria across the Lebanese borders, killing and wounding scores of them. In Idlib, a number of terrorists was killed and many others injured following a disagreement over sharing stolen money and items looted from the public and private properties in Kfir Takharim, Idlib countryside. The terrorists used machine guns in their fight, which took place inside a hideout they used to store the stolen items, weapons and ammunition. Among the terrorists killed, there was the one called Muhyiddin Najjar. A unit of the armed forces on Monday restored security and stability to al-Khaleej residential area in Daraya city in Damascus countryside. Army units clashed with an armed terrorist group, killing and wounding dozens of terrorists near the National Hospital in Daraya and confiscated large quantities of weapons. Anne-Marie Le Pen, the former Speaker of the Belgian Senate, confirmed that foreign powers offer massive support with money and weapons to the extremists coming from different countries of the world to Syria to create chaos there. Le Pen said in an interview with Al Mayadeen channel that the arrival of extremists from various countries around the world, including Belgium, to Syria, exacerbates the situation there, and those extremists do not care about the security of Syria, which is a very important country in a key place of the world. Le Pen called on Europe, which works to stop the support for extremists in Libya and Mali, to stop supporting them in Syria. She added that this is one of the conditions which will lead to peace and the establishment of a real political dialogue. Le Pen said, "We support a peaceful solution in Syria and wonder how France fights extremists in Mali and support them in Syria." Le Pen hoped to find a political solution to the crisis in Syria through dialogue, and Europe must be aware that they have to stop supporting extremists. The level of tension rises in Egypt as the opposition National Salvation Front refused dialogue with President Morsi and his group, calling for massive demonstrations next Friday. Anti-government protesters defied Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi's curfew order in cities along the Suez Canal and clashed with police and troops in Restif Port Said. 20 minutes after the 9 p.m. curfew began, demonstrators chanted slogans against the government, pledging to continue protests despite the measures taken by Morsi's ruling regime. Meanwhile, Egyptian troops beat back an attempt by a half-dozen protesters to storm a prison in Port Said, where dozens of people were killed in clashes over the weekend. 9 people were injured in earlier clashes at a police station. Back to our local news. Developing the Real Estate Engineering Work was the title of the Dialog edition, which was organized by the Ministry of Local Administration in cooperation with the project of improvement of the municipality services in order to surpass the obstacles suffered by the real estate engineering in Syria. Out of the Ministry of Local Administration's plan to boost the services, the Ministry organized the dialogue to discuss what has been accomplished of studies and research over the mechanisms to develop the real estate engineering by national expertise as part of a series of studies by the Ministry in cooperation with the UN Development Programme in Syria. The dialogue, which discusses research studies considered to be the first of their kind, seeks to put an integrated scientific proposal and a working plan to develop the technical and organizational framework of real estate engineering, as well as to train the workers in this domain. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more news about Syria and the region, and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Nariman Qassam after a short break.